So, I have talked very positively about the Steam Deck here on my channel because I genuinely really like the product. I think the Steam Deck is a great buy for people who like handheld PC gaming or the idea of handheld PC gaming. And if you're someone who's really big into emulation, I definitely recommend the Steam Deck because you can play pretty much anything up to the Wii U on the Steam Deck at a flawless 60 FPS or whatever the frame rate was of the game that you are emulating. And if you want, you can hook it up to your TV screen and basically use it like you would that console. On top of having Steam games, a computer built in where you can do editing and stuff, use Discord, you can do tons of different stuff on the Steam Deck. It's basically a little computer in the palm of your hands. It's awesome. But it's not so awesome according to the journalist we're going to take a look at today that wrote an article with basically 8 reasons why you shouldn't buy the Steam Deck, and it is a terrible article. 8 reasons to think twice before buying a Steam Deck, and it's by History Tools. It was published March 31st, 2024, so it's a little over a year old at this point. But hey man, stupidity never expires. The Steam Deck portable gaming PC from Valve has made quite a splash since its release in February 2022. With an estimated 1 million units sold in its first year, there's clearly high demand for a handheld device that can play your Steam games on the go. However, as impressive as the Steam Deck is, in many ways, it's far from perfect. Before you jump on the hype train, here are 8 important reasons to consider purchasing a Steam Deck, especially if your main goal is playing popular games like Dead by Day. Yeah, no thanks. Well man, grab your Steam Decks and get ready to smash it because here's 8 reasons why you shouldn't own that piece of shit. 1. It's not as portable as you might think. One of the biggest selling points of the Steam Deck is its portability. You can take your PC games anywhere, but in reality, the Steam Deck stretches the definition of a true handheld gaming device. At nearly a foot wide and weighing in at 1.5 pounds, the Steam Deck is significantly larger and heavier than other handhelds like the Nintendo Switch. It won't fit in your pocket and feels quite bulky, especially when you add a protective carrying case, which you'll definitely want. Compared to the Switch at 9.4 inches wide and 0.88 pounds, the Steam Deck is a bit of a beast. Holding it for long play sessions can get uncomfortable due to the size and weight, yeah, that's what she said, and you'll need to dedicate a good amount of room in your bag to bring it with you. So yes, the Steam Deck is technically portable, but it pushes the boundaries of what most people consider a handheld gaming device? Commuting with it requires more planning and space than you may expect. Yeah, that is the stupidest shit I've ever read in my life, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Dude's acting like 1.5 pounds is too heavy, and if that's the case, hit the gym, dude. You're gonna need it. And yeah, it doesn't cross the boundaries of what most people consider a handheld gaming device. Like, what does that even mean, dude? You say it takes more planning to take it on a commute. Just put it in a goddamn backpack, dude. This is the first of 8 points, and I already feel my brain literally melting out of my ears. Anyway, on to the next point. You can't upgrade it like a gaming PC. Another appealing aspect of gaming PCs is the ability to upgrade components over time as games become more demanding. The Steam Deck, however, offers extremely limited upgrade options. Other than potentially changing out the SSD storage, the Steam Deck's components are not user upgradable. The CPU, GPU, RAM, and battery, and screen are all fixed. What you buy is what you're stuck with. This could become problematic in a few years when new games have higher requirements. Whereas a desktop gaming rig could be upgraded with more RAM, a new graphics card, etc. to keep up. The Steam Deck will be far more limited in its ability to play the latest titles. What works well now may struggle down the road. So you mean like any other gaming laptop out there, which is what this is trying to be, but just in the palm of your hand? It's a very affordable option, and it's probably going to work for I don't know how many years. It came out in 2022, and it is 2025, and the new Oblivion remake runs fine on it, and that's a game that just came out. Lots of games run really well on it. Some games don't, but then again, you're talking about a small $300 to $400 device. Many Steam games aren't compatible, including Dead by Daylight. Perhaps the biggest current drawback of the Steam Deck is that only a fraction of the immense Steam library is playable on it. Out of the 50,000 plus games on Steam, Valve rates a mere 7,000 or so as verified or playable on the Steam Deck. That's just 14%. Some hugely popular Steam games like Destiny 2, PUBG, Apex Legends, and Black Desert simply will not run on the device at all. If your favorite games aren't on that list, you're out of luck. As of now, that sadly also includes Dead by Daylight, an asymmetric multiplayer horror game with a very active community. Neither the developers nor Valve have indicated it will be made compatible anytime soon, so if your primary reason for considering the Steam Deck is playing Dead by Daylight portably, you should probably look elsewhere. Yeah, this person has clearly never ever owned a Steam Deck because they don't know that just because a game says unsupported, that doesn't mean you can't tinker around with it and get those games working. There are tons of videos on YouTube explaining how you can do this for certain games. But even if you only count those 7,000 games that are listed as playable or verified, that's still infinitely more than the Nintendo Switch has. Also, all the games you listed there that were not verified are all fucking AAA slop anyway. The battery life leaves much to be desired. Technically, Valve claims the Steam Deck can last for 2 to 8 hours on a single charge, but realistically, expect that to be on the very low end of that range for graphically intense 3D games. Compared to handhelds like the Switch or even many gaming laptops, 2 hours is quite short. For any kind of lengthy trips or play sessions, you'll absolutely need to have your charger handy. The 40 watt-hour battery capacity simply demands a lot of recharging. This greatly cuts into the portability and makes spontaneous on-the-go gaming sessions a lot harder. You'll constantly be scoping out power outlets and managing your charge level. Not ideal for a device meant to be a portable gaming PC. Okay, now I kinda get this one, but this just comes with the territory of being a more powerful device. It's gonna eat up more battery. When I play games like Dark Souls 2, I get like 7 hours of battery time, but when I play something super intensive like Doom Eternal, I might only get an hour and 45 minutes if playing at 60 FPS. Well, I know Doom Eternal's not super intensive, but you get what I mean. You kinda gotta play that one at 60. The 7-inch 720p screen is underwhelming. 720p in 2024 is quite a low screen resolution for such an expensive device. The Steam Deck's display is just not on par with most mid-tier gaming laptop screens, never mind an external 1080p or higher monitor. While the smaller screen size makes 720p more bearable than it would be on a larger display, you're still not getting the full visual fidelity the games were designed for. Many graphical details are lost and it takes away from the immersiveness, especially in visually striking games. Text can also be hard to read in some games at 720p on a 7-inch screen. Prepare to do a fair bit of squinting. Contrast this to the OLED screen on the new Switch or the 1080p and above resolutions available on the Neo 2 and Ain Loci, what the fuck are those? Handheld PCs. The Steam Deck unfortunately feels a bit outdated in this area already. Cutting-edge graphics are a big part of PC gaming, and it's disappointing that such an otherwise powerful device is let down by its display. Okay, once again, I get this complaint, and it would be super cool if 1080p was an option, especially for like older games or emulator games that could easily handle it. But on the other hand, you were complaining about battery life earlier, but if 1080p were an option, the battery would drain even quicker than it already does. Also, you then complain that you can't see all the graphical details and that, super graphically cool shit is a big part of PC gaming. That's not really what the Steam Deck is designed for. It's not meant to be a fucking powerhouse PC. Most of the time on the Steam Deck, you're not playing with max settings, you're not playing with ray tracing, you're playing with low/medium settings in an upscaler. Especially if it's a brand new release. If it's an older game, like a 2015 game, maybe. But once again, I feel like you're looking to the Steam Deck for the wrong thing. It's not meant to be a graphical powerhouse. You're limited by the Linux-based software. Out of the box, the Steam Deck runs Valve's custom Linux-based SteamOS operating system. While it works decently for basic gaming functionality, you'll run into some software limitations compared to Windows. Some games with anti-cheat systems won't run on SteamOS at all. For others, you may need to tinker with Proton compatibility layers and do some troubleshooting to get them working. And a number of games simply have issues or reduced performance versus Windows. You also miss out on a lot of the auxiliary functionality that comes with Windows, like the full Office suite support, Adobe Creative apps, many games from other launchers, etc. The overall software ecosystem is much more limited. You can install Windows on the Steam Deck, but that comes with its own set of trade-offs and complications. The bottom line is that SteamOS imposes some notable restrictions that undercut the promise of taking your full gaming PC library on the go. A regular Windows gaming laptop may serve you better for that. Yeah, but with a full Windows gaming laptop, you're probably paying like $2,000 to $3,000 for it, maybe $4,000 if you want a higher end one. The Steam Deck is very affordable compared to that. So yeah, it's gonna have its drawback. Now, if you really want Windows, you could go ahead and just get the ROG Ally. I mean, it's a little bit more expensive, but I mean, there's always that option. Customization options are extremely limited. User customization is a big part of the fun for many PC gamers. From custom-built desktops with flashy RGB components to personalized gaming keyboards/mice to mixing and matching parts to get the exact performance you want. PC gaming is all about making the machine your own. The Steam Deck, in comparison, is a totally closed system. What you see is what you get. There's no easy way to change out the built-in controls, add flair or personality to the device's look, or modify the core components. You're locked into Valve's design decisions. This makes it feel much more like a standard game console than a true gaming PC. So if the ability to personalize and customize your rig is important to you, the Steam Deck will likely disappoint. You'll get a more authentic PC gaming experience with an actual desktop or laptop where the sky's the limit for making it uniquely yours. I guess so, but at the same time, I mean, it's not really meant to be a full-on desktop where you can customize everything. It's meant to be a simple device that you can take on the go and play your PC games. But I do find it funny that you keep bringing up a laptop. Weren't you complaining about the size of the Steam Deck and weight of it earlier, and now you're gonna recommend a fucking laptop? Whatever, man. The control layout may not work for you. While Valve put clear effort into making the Steam Deck controls as accommodating as possible, at the end of the day, it's still a one-size-fits-all solution. If you don't find the built-in controls comfortable or suitable for your playstyle, you're kinda stuck. Some people find the grips too bulky or the button/stick layout awkward. For instance, you can't swap out for a different controller that fits your hands better like you can on other platforms. This is especially concerning for people with limited mobility or hand issues. There simply aren't great accessibility options with the fixed design. The Steam Deck may be physically unusable for some players. That's honestly a great point, I can't argue with that. You can of course plug in external controllers for docked play or use the touchscreen controls, but at that point you're giving up on the core handheld experience that the device is built around. If you'll mostly be playing with external controllers anyway, you might as well get a gaming laptop, I've already talked about that, or desktop and spare yourself the Steam Deck's high price tag. So let me get this straight. You think the Steam Deck has a high price tag, but you recommend a laptop or a desktop? yeah, we're done with this article. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike and a mean comment. And I'm out. Steam Deck's heist. Get the fuck out of here, bro.